We're here with James Pollard. He is the host of Financial Advisor Marketing. It's a podcast, and he's an expert. He's known in the financial services industry as someone who can use email marketing to help set appointments for financial advisors. So welcome, James. It's nice to have you.
Welcome. I love doing these sorts of casual chats and just getting inside my head and getting inside your head and just trying to help your audience become better
Sure.
human beings. So hopefully I can do that. That's my mission for the day.
That's fantastic. Well, through the Financially Independent Millennial, my mission is to help people learn about financial, just financial independence in general, and just finance in general. Just learning to save their money, pay their bills, invest it, and so that one day they can have a lifestyle where they live in comfort.
That is an amazing mission. I am on that path myself. I talk with a lot of people who want to be financially independent, obviously, because I'm in the space, and there's so many myths out there. There's so many stories. There's so many different paths to get there. I feel like there's no right or wrong answer to be financially independent, but there are some guidelines you can follow, and the world needs people like you to give people those guidelines.
Well, I definitely appreciate it. But today we're going to be talking about you. So tell me a little bit about your business. How does it work? Like who is your target client? How does it work?
So the name of the business is The Advisor Coach, and the website is theadvisorcoach.com. It is a little bit of a confusing name because I don't do one-on-one coaching whatsoever anymore. That is what I started off with, because I figured that was the business model that I wanted. And I figured that I would just coach people with their marketing, work with them one-on-one. I sat down one day and I asked myself, how would I want to learn about marketing if I was in the financial advisor's shoes and was just building this business, or any business for that matter? I would want somebody to sit down with me, work with me one-on-one, take me by the hand, show me exactly how to do this, how to do that. And it worked for a while. It's just that I didn't want to do that anymore. And there's an upper limit to how much you can do. And we all have the same 24 hours per day. Eventually, the demand for what I did got so great that I just kept raising prices and raising prices and raising prices and couldn't do anything anymore. So I productized my knowledge. Now, the stuff that I used to do in one-on-one coaching and consulting is available at a much lower price point. It's available to many more financial advisors. And it's just a better way to leverage my time, my efforts, my abilities. It's a win-win in every category, because I'm able to help more people and build a bigger business in the process.
Right. So I guess you can sell your product literally 24 hours a day, and you can scale it. You don't have to sell it just to one person. You could have 100 people buying the product.
Correct. And one of a particularly large part of the business is a monthly paper and ink newsletter. It's actually not digital. And I really enjoy sending out a paper and ink newsletter to people, like actually in the mail. They have to wait for it. It's analog, I guess, is the way I would describe it. And that's $99 a month, and it's recurring. And I wish I did that earlier. If someone out there is looking for business advice or to start a business, put a recurring aspect in your business as soon as you possibly can. And that's amazing, because that particular product is very similar to one-on-one consulting. It's like I'm sitting down with you 20 minutes a month or so, however long it takes the advisor to read. And I'm talking about current events. Like recently, financial advisors, it was ruled that they can use testimonials now. Never been able to use testimonials, but now they can. So in that newsletter, February 2021 to be exact, I'm talking about testimonials, and that's going out, and any questions that an advisor would have asked me in person, they're going to get answered in the newsletter. So if you're out there and you're wondering about something you should put in your business, recurring subscription-based models are the way to go. I wish I did that way sooner.
That is incredible advice. In fact, in my book, I mentioned that my aha moment was somewhere around 2004, when I discovered that in my hosting business, I had a web hosting company. If I just charged $25 a month, and all I did was just keep that customer happy, I will get that $25 a month again and again and again and again. And as the months went by, there was more and more customers that showed up. So 25 became 100, became $1,000 a month, and so on and so on and so on. And as long as I kept those people happy, then that sort of snowballed into a beautiful little business that I was able to sell eventually. Now, I did have to, in terms of scale, it perhaps wouldn't scale like a course would, because I imagine that you're using videos, you're using your podcast to reach, hundreds, if not thousands of people. So tell me more about that. So you've got this segment who is listening to you online, and you've got a subscription-based model. What is it that they're buying?
They're buying the subscription-based model.
Mm-hmm.
They're buying dollars for pennies, essentially, mm-hmm. is what they're buying, because it's just paper mm-hmm. and just words on paper until you take the information and you apply it into your business. So subscription-based products are my favorite type of product to buy because they keep me accountable. I don't keep getting another sales pitch and another sales pitch and another sales pitch. I get information fed into my business essentially every month. So let's say that 6 months ago, I gave a particular Facebook ad strategy, and a financial advisor was like, oh, this is exactly what I'm looking for. I'm going to implement this. It's not that hard for them to pay for their $99 per month in perpetuity, like literally forever, from just one piece of advice. So that's really what I'm selling. I know that's like a fancy, flowery type way to describe it, but it really is dollars for pennies. And that's how I look at it. I'm like trying to give people money in exchange for a smaller amount of money.
Interesting. And so the clients who purchase your service, are they looking for additional branding? Like, what are the sort of things that they're learning? I mean, is it about new client acquisition? Is it marketing?
What's strange is, so it is a marketing newsletter. It's primarily marketing. Financial advisors help you get more clients, grow your business, that kind of thing. It's strange to me, but the stuff that has gotten the biggest positive feedback is stuff like avoiding lifestyle creep, seeking financial independence. It's the weirdest thing, because I thought that financial advisors would be like, oh, I've got this covered. I read the personal finance books. I understand that. But when I like walk them through certain scenarios, like, it's amazing that even financial professionals don't think of this stuff. For example, I said, it sounds so simple. I'm like reeling right now, but if you save 10% of your income, it's going to take you 9 years to save 100% of your expenses. It's just basic math. Mm-hmm. If you crank that up to 50, it's year in, year out, you're mm-hmm. saving a year. Mm-hmm. And that's like mind blowing to them when it clicks for them that how important it is to either A, raise your income, or B, cut your expenses. And when people are pushed into a corner, they really don't want to cut their expenses. I mean, they love their lattes and their espresso machines and stuff. So the only way that they can have the lifestyle they want and reach financial independence a lot faster is to increase their income. So when I open that door for them, now they get it. They understand how important marketing is, because marketing is what is going to increase their income. And that's not just with financial advisors. That's with anyone. That's with any business. If you want to keep your lifestyle or even upgrade it a little bit, I mean, you don't have to drive beat up cars forever. Mm-hmm. If you want to have a nice car, you can, but it's just that your income has to grow in proportion to the lifestyle you want in order to maintain or even get financial independence.
Sure. No, that's great advice. So I think really what it comes down to is that financial advisors perhaps have to zoom in a little bit on the budget.
Absolutely.
Perhaps that's what it is. Because it wasn't, at least in my own case, it wasn't until I started discovering that if I take that, what I call my monthly income surplus, if I take that and invest it, and I continuously do that every single month, that my net worth will continue to grow, as will my income.
Correct, because you're getting income from your investments.
Exactly. But if you take that bonus, that increase in salary or whatever extra income you have, and put that towards a brand new car, or those extra lattes, or a bigger home, or a pool, or whatever else, your lifestyle goes up, but it might improve in the short term, but in the long term, you're going to be working until the lifestyle comes down. I haven't worked a real job in 7 years, yet I drive a Toyota Yaris. That's my everyday car. I bought it brand new, but that's my neighbor. I could afford a much better car, but if I buy a better car, I'm going to have to take out for my investments. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, it's all about choices. You have to understand what is right for you at the right time. And I believe that being able to look at what someone else is doing with their lifestyle and not get jealous and like just not care, that's a superpower. Because I have people in my neighborhood, like literally, who are just driving Bentleys and stuff. Like that's their weekend car. But what's nuts is when I like take a walk and stuff, I see them going out to work and coming back, and like that's cool if that's what you want to do and that's what's really important to you. But in my experience, when I ask people, do you want to stop working? I mean, I feel like you should love what you do anyway, but do you want to stop working? A lot of people say yes. Do you want to travel more? They say yes, but they're not taking that action to get there. They would rather have lifestyle creep get in there.
Right. That instant gratification.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. In my second company, it was a voice over IP business, and the first 5.5 years, it was near 24 hours a day of work. And I say near because I had an alert system attached to my cell phone, attached to my home phone. So sometimes in the middle of the night, I would get an alert and I would have to get up and go deal with something. And if I didn't, it could be, I mean, it was almost certainly a financial, there'd be a financial repercussion the longer the outage would be. So I get it. It's not everybody would want to do that, but I was happy to do it because I knew that one day,
right, yes,
it would mean that I wouldn't have to I wouldn't have to deal with this anymore. And that day came 7 years ago, and I haven't ever looked back. So to all of you out there in the internet land who's watching this video, if you work today like crazy, eventually, you know what, you might not have to do that. You just got to work smart today and just go through it. That's my advice.
I don't want to get really philosophical or spiritual or anything, but I've been thinking about this a lot. I feel as if for every level of financial success in life, about the same amount of effort is required. And effort doesn't necessarily mean labor, but it does mean like personal growth. Maybe you're already close, but or it could be labor, it could be financial resources, it could be energy, it could be time. It all requires like about the same, but some people choose to stretch it out over long periods of time and dwindle their energy at nighttime or watch Netflix or whatever. Other people tend to compress it and they try to get as much done as quickly as possible. Like people in the fire movement, that's essentially what is going on. So it's a personal choice. I tend to err on the side of getting as much done in as short a period of time as possible because we don't know what tomorrow will bring. But then there are people who say the exact, well, the same / opposite, where they say, well, I'm going to stretch it out as long as possible because I want to enjoy every day now. I don't know what tomorrow will bring. So it's the individual, what they want to do.
Right. I think also energy has a lot to do with it. In my 20s, I had a ton of energy, so it was a lot easier. But I still have a lot of energy today. So if I had to do it all over again, it wouldn't be a problem.
I don't know if you want to go down this path or not, but one of the things that not many people know about me, and they don't know about successful business owners if they're on the outside looking in, is how much effort goes into managing energy. So I'm wearing an Aura ring right now, and this is popular in the tech community. It's popular in the business world. It's a sleep tracker, and I track my sleep religiously. And it's a hobby. Well, not really a hobby anymore, but it was started out as a hobby of mine, and I am into it. I have a ton of supplements. Like I said, I track my sleep. I know what goes into my body, and I am acutely aware of any changes in energy. I mean, if I have the wrong type of dessert or too many carbs, I understand that will lead to brain fog in a couple hours. So I structure my day based on my diet and how I feel. If I have a rough night of sleep and I'm tracking it, I know that I need to go to the portion of my to-do list that is a little bit easier to do. That way I can still get it done and get it done accurately. But if I have a great night of sleep, then I need to go to my to-do list and pick out the hardest task, because that's when I'm going to be most effective with those.
Right.
So I manage my energy. Not many people talk about that. They like to talk
No,
about the sexier parts, but energy management is critical.
I'd never thought of that. I know that one thing that has always worked for me is getting a good night's sleep. And that's something that I've always been really, I've been very passionate about. So, I mean, I go to bed at around 10:30 at night and I'm up at 7:30 or so in the morning. It's incredibly important to me, because if I don't get that, then I don't function well. And if I don't function well, then, who wants 80% of something? Because you're just not going to get through it. So tell me, if you were giving advice to somebody who wanted to start a small business today, because with the pandemic and millions of Americans losing their jobs and all of that sort of stuff, certainly there's going to be a movement soon or a boom of new businesses that always happens after a recession. What would you suggest to them?
Know your market. Do your research into your market. Whoever it is that you want to sell to, that you want to help, that you want to add value to, learn about that person, ask questions, don't make assumptions. Almost every time I've made a major assumption about my market, I've been totally wrong. I've created stuff on different topics that didn't resonate well with financial advisors, and it could have totally been avoided had I just asked them, hey, do you want this? And the next step that a lot of people miss when they do the research and they say, hey, do you want this? It's easy for people to say, yeah, of course I want this. Say, well, can you pay for a beta? Can you put a little bit of money down to show me that you're serious? This is going to retail for $3.99, but because you're interested now and because it's not going to be made for 4 months, I'll let you have it for $99. If they put the money down, you probably have a winner. If they say, oh, well, that's okay. I don't really, I love it. I think it's a great idea. It's not for me, but I think other people will enjoy it. Maybe want to try something else.
That is an
So
interesting,
really
that's
dig.
very interesting. See if see if you can discount the item in advance.
Well, that's just to incentivize them to wait. You don't
Right.
have to discount it.
Sure.
It's even better if you don't discount it. If you say this is coming out in 6 months, it's $400. Can you buy it? Or do you want to buy it? I mean, you would say, put it nicer than that.
No, I
But
get
if
it.
they say, heck yeah, sign up, and
Sure.
they're really ready to get it,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
you've
No.
got a mega winner. But
Right.
the idea is like, hey, it's just like an excuse to let them know why you're discounting it. It's because, oh, I'm producing it now. I'm doing my research. I don't really know. Like, you're just being transparent with people. And if they're willing to say yes, then you've got a winner. I did that with my newsletter, by the way. I said, I'm thinking about doing this. I'm going to offer the first month for $5.83 because that's what it cost me to ship. I basically looked at how much it would cost to print, how much it would cost to ship. It was on average $5.83. And I showed people proof. I showed them my receipts. I was like, this is how much it cost me. I'm giving it to you for cost. Do you want it? And a whole bunch of people said, yes, I want it. And they paid actual money. It wasn't a lot of money, but they paid real money with their real credit cards and debit cards and stuff. And I had a proof of concept that this was something that people were willing to pay for. I had no idea. I don't think there's any other, maybe now there is, but at the time, I don't think there was any other company, any other person who was doing actual real paper and ink newsletters for financial advisors, because they all thought the digital was the way. And don't get me wrong, digital is the way to go. But there's something magical about receiving something in the mail, and it's just a nice little aspect of the business. But my point is that people paid for it. I had a proof of concept. And had I not done that, I would have been running the risk that I would have done all that work and people would have just not wanted it.
Sure.
And that would have been bad, because that would have been opportunity cost that I could have used to make something else that people wanted.
And how do you find these clients, or as a new business, where do you go out and get your name? Where do you put your name out?
I could spend all day on this because this is essentially what I do for a living. There are tons of ways. You have the old fashioned direct mail sales letter. If let's say you are working with police officers, there's a magazine called Police Canine Magazine, with like the dogs and the police dogs. You can go to them and say, hey, would you be willing to rent out your mailing list? I'd like to send them something in the mail. You can send them something in the mail, introduce your concept. You got Facebook ads, you got LinkedIn ads, you got Google ads, which leads to YouTube ads. You've got social media. LinkedIn is amazing if you're targeting an occupation because they have groups. So if you're targeting dentists, they have dental groups that you can get in and you can start asking questions. You can start engaging. Facebook has groups. There are so many different ways to get in front of your target market. You just got to know where they're hanging out and go there. And you have to be smart about where you leverage your time too. There are certain activities that are not as likely to happen, but they're extremely high payoff. For example, if you're working with police officers and there's a popular police blog out there, I don't know of any off the top of my head, but if there's a popular blog, you could go there and say, hey, I'd like to guest post. And the person says, hey, you can write something and then send it to me, and then maybe I'll publish it. Well, you're running the chance that it won't get published. There is a chance, but it's a small chance. But if it does get published, you're in front of thousands, potentially tens of thousands of police officers, depending on how big this blog is. So there are many ways to do that you just want to go where your market is and start engaging with them.
No, definitely good advice. And once you've got that product, once you've got it, you've got your proof of concept. How do you what's the best way to keep your customers happy? I mean, aside from delivering them a great product, like how do you keep them coming back?
Oh, you're making me give away all the secrets. So when someone signs, this is something I'm actually doing. I mean, there are a lot of people who give theories and blog posts and stuff, kind of like with financial advice and financial independence. If people are like, oh, just stop buying your lattes. Like technically, yeah, you're right. That's good advice, but also don't pay as much in taxes because you're missing your deduction here, or don't have such a high housing payment. That's a little bit better advice. So there are other things that you could do. So in my actual business, when someone signs up for the newsletter, and I didn't realize I would talk so much about the newsletter, but I send them a thank you note. So there is a service called Handwritten, and it's hand WRYTTEN, with a Y instead of an I. So Handwritten allows me to type in whatever it is I want to say. They write it out as if it's real handwriting, and it looks legit. I mean, I'm honest with people. I say this is a service that I use in the newsletter. So it's not as if I'm saying this is really my handwriting.
Sure.
I would never do that. But they get this note basically saying, thank you for subscribing to the Inner Circle newsletter. Stay on the lookout for your first issue. I really appreciate you. It's going to be shipped out March 1st or whatever. So that serves 2 points. Point number one is it says it's going to be shipped out March 1st. That way, when somebody signs up February 6th and March 1st rolls around, or a month rolls around and it's like March 6th and they get billed again, because they bill every month. So they get billed on February 6th and then they get billed on March 6th. It prevents them from sending an email basically freaking out about, where's my newsletter? I've been billed twice so far. They get a note in the mail that says, you're getting it, it's shipping out March 1st. So it prevents that. The second point is it's a real human touch. Well, kind of. They get that shows that I appreciate them, because I really do. It's a nice card. I mean, it's a really nice piece of mail to get. It shows appreciation and they stick around. So if you think about the return on investment from that, let's just round up the newsletter to $100 and we'll round up the card to $5. If that $5 card gets someone to stay one additional month, that's a 20x return on my investment.
Yep.
So that's how I look at it. And you can send gifts, and people are so squeamish about sending gifts. You could send wine, you could send chocolate, you could send, I don't know, Sherry's berries. There's a whole bunch of different things that you could just literally give to your customers. People are so afraid to just give gifts. If you have a favorite book, go to a bulk book site and buy books, buy 100 of them for $3.99 each. You're out $400. You ship it for $5 each, you're $900, right? But if that brings in an additional $9,000 into your business, that's a 10x return on investment. People are, I don't know why it is, but they are squeamish about just straight up literally giving gifts to their customers, but it works wonders for me.
For some time, a few years ago, I worked as a realtor in Vancouver. And I have to say, you're 100% on point. The handwritten or hand-like written cards and notes are super important, because what I found is that when people go to the mail today, what do they get? They get a bill. They get a letter from the IRS. They get a letter from, somebody that they don't want to hear from. And then all of a sudden, when they get something nice in the mail, it's like, wow, boom! It's a complete surprise.
So in your introduction of me, you said that I'm primarily known for email marketing, I believe. And that is true. I'm, without tooting my own horn too much, I'm probably the best in the world at financial services email marketing. And one of the most effective ways to set appointments with email marketing as financial services is to take it away from email, to use email to get offline. People think you have to stay within the inbox, stay in the inbox, stay in the inbox. That can work, and you can set appointments that way. But what if I don't have a book on my desk now, but what if you send an email, you have a picture of you with a book, you, like an actual picture, you're taking a selfie, and the subject line is, first name, like James, I want to send this to you. You're holding up the book. You say, go here, give me your address. I want to send this book to you. This has changed my financial thinking forever. If you're someone who specializes in a concept called bank on yourself or infinite banking, it's a whole life insurance thing, and you're selling life insurance, there are books about that concept. You can say, this revolutionized my thinking. It's a book that leads them into your business. Or, I mean, it could be anything. It could be how to win friends and influence people. It could be Think and Grow Rich. But the idea is you're getting their physical address. You're sending them something that's specifically for them. It costs you virtually nothing in the grand scheme of things. And your conversion rate goes way up, because the next email they get, they're going to be like, instead of being like, this is the guy who is trying to get me to set an appointment, you have now turned into the guy who sent me the book, the guy who has given me a gift. And it's an incredible shift, and it makes the likelihood of them setting an appointment go through the roof. So people don't know that. They don't realize that one of the biggest superpowers of email marketing is to get people offline. It's crazy, but that's like the real stuff. Like, that's the secret.
Yeah, it's blowing my own mind, quite literally, because in my own mind, I focus heavily on knowing my readers, and the way I get to know my readers, it starts with an email address. And what you're saying is, take the email address, throw that out the window, send them a gift. So
you're continuing to email them. You're not.
Yes,
you don't
yes,
stop
of course,
emailing.
Of course,
them.
no, of course.
But yeah. Yes.
No, that's really interesting. It's just a whole full circle for me, because it reminds me of my days selling real estate. So,
well, you can do a lot of things with it. Like a welcome email is like, here's who I am, here's who I help, here's the thing that you signed up to get. So if you're offering a lead magnet or something, you just like, here's the thing, go download the thing. And it has real actionable information in it. You're really helping people. It's not like a little checklist or guide. At least that's not what I recommend. I recommend something that's a little heftier, 10 plus pages at least, with real information in it. And then just a soft kind of push to your services. And some people advocate the hard sells. I've seen it work not as well when you have something soft combined with follow-up. If you just have one big push, hard sells unfortunately, they tend to work a little bit better. But if you have something soft and then you follow up in the way that I describe, it blows everything else out of the water. But you can have one email basically saying, I recorded this video about this topic, click here to watch it. And instead of taking them to your website, or YouTube, which is what everybody says, it goes to your LinkedIn profile. And they see you on LinkedIn, and they see your headshot, and they see your headline that says financial advisor serving dentist. So the dentists are clicking on a video about a topic related to dentist. They're going to LinkedIn, and they're seeing you again being reinforced as a real human being. There are many actions they can take there. They can follow you. They can connect with you. You're adding another touch point outside of email. So if you had that in an automated sequence, which is easy to do with Constant Contact, with Drip, whatever, it's very easy to do. Customer service teams there are set up literally to make sure you pay them every month. They're incentivized for that. So they'll help you set it up. You have that. You send them a LinkedIn. They get to know you. Maybe they don't take action right away. Then you send them a couple more emails, and then you hit them with I want to send this to you in the mail. You're so far ahead of everyone else. It's just so effective.
This has been incredibly illuminating to me. James, have I asked you everything? I mean, is there anything more that you can think about when it comes to, actually, how do we get in touch with you?
So the best way to get in touch with me is through email. There's someone monitoring that inbox pretty much 24/7, unless it's a holiday or unless it's like 3 a.m.
Mhm.
Um, then it might take like an hour or so to respond.
Mhm.
But it's james@theadvisorcoach.com. I'm pretty much not necessarily an open book all the time, but I
Mhm.
try to be. If people ask me questions, I'll try to just get back as quickly as I can. But the website is theadvisorcoach.com. I have a podcast, as you mentioned, called Financial Advisor Marketing. At this point, we've got over 100 episodes
Mhm.
designed to help financial advisors with marketing. But even if you're not a financial advisor and you just want to get better at marketing, like a lot of the advice carries over. So
It
there are many
sounds
different
it yeah.
ways.
It sounds like this advice would be good for everybody.
Yep.
And
I
and
hope
where
so.
would we find that?
So anywhere you listen to podcasts, if you
Mhm.
just search the term financial advisor marketing,
Okay.
the cover art is a guy who is wearing well, you can't see his face, but it's a guy in a suit and his tie is disheveled. So you'll know it's gray
Great.
and yellow and you can't miss it.
Great. Well, James, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for joining us on this interview today.
Thank you. I've
All
had a
right.
lot of fun.
Yeah, you bet. Take care.